Good morning, ladies. Today we're going to start our class with a review about forces. So, what is a force? A force is an interaction between two objects that uh, allow them to move, to create movement, or to stop moving, or to change the direction of the movement, or to change the shape of the object. So, during this course, we have been talking about different types of forces. Uh, Contact forces and non-contact forces. The contact forces are the forces that touch the when that in order to apply that force they have to touch each other. But in non-contact force, like for example magnetism, the objects don't have to be together. They don't have to be touching each other to create a force between them. So we're going to talk a little bit about those contact forces. And we're gonna start with the weight. As you already know, the weight of an object is the mass of the object affected by the gravity. So we're not going to talk about gravity in this course, but we're going to call this force weight. Mm, Another force that we have learned about is the normal force. The normal force is like a supporting force that is exerted by a surface on a body. For example, when you put a book on the table is exerting an abnormal force upward in the book. So that's why the book don't go through the table. Now we're going to talk about friction and air resistance. Friction is a force that goes in the opposite direction of the movement. So the effect of the friction is to slow down the object or to stop the movement of the object. You can see friction in action when you rub two objects together. Air resistance is just a type of friction, but in this case, the air is the one in charge of reducing the the movement of the object. The next force is the applied force. The applied force is used when an object is being moved by another object or by a person. So examples of this applied force are pushing, pulling, or thrust. The last force that we're going to talk about is the upthrust force or the buoyancy force, sometimes also called a lift. This force is the force that help an object to be on the air, for example, or on top of the water. So this force is pushing up an object to make it float on a liquid or in the air. We can represent all these forces in a force diagram. So a force diagram is a drawing that shows the direction of the forces and sometimes the size or the magnitude of the forces. So in this example, we have a plane, and in this plane there are four forces acting on it. The weight pushing down, the thrust that makes it move forward, the drag or the air resistance, that is the same, that stops a little bit the movement, that reduces the movement, and the lift or the upthrust that helps the plane to be in the air. So those are the four forces that are acting on the plane. So we can use the force diagram to represent the movement of the object. In this case, we have a square with four forces. In this object, the force that is pushing up would be the normal force, that is the opposite force of the weight. And we also have two forces, like an applied force that is moving the object and the friction that goes against the movement of the object. When we subtract the applied force minus the friction, we're gonna have a net force of 55 newtons. In this case, the normal force and the weight must be the same because the object is not moving up or moving down. So we can say that these two forces are balanced, and that's why there's no movement up or down. But the movement is going to the right because the applied force is bigger than the friction force. So in this case, the applied force and the friction force are unbalanced forces. So that's it for today, ladies. I hope you could clarify some of the doubts you told me in the previous classes. And if you have any other question, you just let me know.